Good morning, boys and girls. How are you today? I hope you are fine. Welcome back again. Now we are going to revise our previous vocabulary. Please look at the board. Pay attention for me. Choose the correct answer. Choose the correct answer. Number one. My mom cooked chicken for dinner, for Harper, or for Castle. Again, my mom cooked chicken for dinner, Harper, or Castle. Who can tell me my mom cooked chicken for? Yes, I heard you. For
dinner.
Excellent. My mom cooked the chicken for dinner. Okay, thank you. Number two. Haya space a red dress. Haya space a red dress. Haya space a red dress. Haya meets, wears, comes. Haya, yes, Haya wears a red dress. Number three, we will go fishing at the tower, jungle, or weekend. We will go fishing at, yes, you please,
Weekend.
at the weekend. Okay, thank you. So, I am going to read your answers again. Number one, my mom cooked the chicken for dinner. Number two, Haya wears a red dress. Number three, we will go fishing at the weekend. Okay, your answers are number one, dinner. Number two, wears. Number three, weekend. Okay, now please, my dear pupils, open your workbook page 20. Please open your workbook page 20. Here we are going to have the difference between always, usually, and never. Again, now we are going to have the difference between always, usually, and never. Okay? Now we have three friends, Ali, Haya, and Salma. Ali, Haya, and Salma. When I ask you, Ali, please, when do you play tennis? When do you play tennis? Please, Ali, I ask you, when do you play tennis? Thank you. Ali says, I always play tennis. Again, Ali says, I always play tennis. Again, I always play tennis. So Ali plays tennis every day. He loves playing tennis. Again, always means that Ali plays tennis every day. He loves playing tennis very much. Again, when I ask you again, Ali, please, when do you play tennis? Yes, Ali says, I always play tennis. I always play tennis. So, Ali plays tennis every day. day. He loves playing tennis very much. Okay? For you, Haya, please. When I ask you, Haya, when do you play tennis? Haya, please, when do you play tennis? Okay, thank you. Haya says, I usually play tennis. I usually play tennis. I usually play tennis. So, Haya plays tennis a lot. So, Haya plays tennis a lot, but not when she has extra homework. Again, when I ask you, Haya, when do you play tennis? Haya says, I usually play tennis. I usually play tennis. So, Haya plays tennis a lot, but not when she has extra homework. But not when she has extra homework. Okay? So she plays tennis 5 times or 4 times a week. 5 times or 4 times a week. Okay? For the last one, please, Salma. When I ask you, do you play tennis, Salma? Do you play tennis? No, Salma says, I don't play tennis. I never play tennis. I don't like playing tennis at all. Again, when I ask you, Salma, do you play tennis? Salma says, I don't play tennis. I never play tennis. I never play tennis. I don't play tennis. I don't like playing tennis at all. Again, here we have a difference between always, usually, and never. Always, usually, and never. Always means you can do anything every day, but usually you can do anything for 5 times or 4 times a week. Never means that you can't do anything. You don't like doing anything at all. Do you know the difference between always, usually, and never? Okay, now please match them up. Number 1, always means I go swimming every day. I love swimming. Again, always means I go swimming every day. I love swimming. For number 2, usually. Usually means I go swimming a lot, but not when I have extra homework. Again, usually means I go swimming a lot, but not when I have extra homework. For number 3, never means I don't go swimming. I can't swim. Again, never means I don't go swimming. I can't swim. I don't go swimming. I can't swim. Okay. Now please look at this exercise. Write about yourself, then ask your friend. Write about yourself, then ask your friend. Okay? Look at the picture number 1. When I ask you, please, my dear, when I ask you, when do you pray? When do you pray your prayers? When do you pray your prayers? Yes, he says, I always pray 5 times a day. I always pray 5 times a day. So he prays 5 times every day. Again, when do you pray your prayers? He says, I always pray 5 times a day. So he prays 5 times every day. For number 2, when I ask you, my friend, when do you go to school? When do you go to school? He says, I usually go to school at 7 o'clock. I usually go to school at 7 o'clock, but not when I get up late. Again, I usually go to school at 7 o'clock, but not when I get up late. Okay, when I get up late. For number 3, look at this picture, please. Do you play football in the street? Do you play football in the street? No, we never play football in the street. We never play football in the street. We don't play football in the street. We can't play football in the street. We don't like playing football in the street. Again, we never means we never, we don't, we can't. We never play football in the street. We don't play football in the street. We can't play football in the street. We don't like playing football in the street. Okay, for number 1, I always pray 5 times a day. I usually go to school at 7 o'clock. Number 3, we never play football in the street. Now please, it's your time to open your student book page 34. Please open your student book page 34. Now you are going to write about your day. Now you are going to write about your day. Your day will start at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. Your day will start at 5:30 in the morning. Okay? When I ask you, when do you always get up? When do you always get up? I always get up at 5:30. At 5:30. For number 2, look at the picture. When I ask you, when do you usually have your breakfast? When do you usually have your breakfast? I usually have my breakfast at 6 o'clock. Okay, for number 3. When do you always wear your clothes? When do you always wear your clothes? I always wear my clothes at 6:30. At 6:30. For number 4, when I ask you, when do you go to school? When do you always go to school? I always go to school at 7 o'clock. Okay, for the next one, look at the picture. Okay, when I ask you, please, when do you usually do your homework? When do you usually do your homework? Yes, I usually do my homework at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock. I usually do my homework at 3 o'clock. For the next, when I ask you, when do you usually play computer games? When do you usually play computer games? I usually play computer games at 5 o'clock. I usually play computer games at 5 o'clock. For the last one, your day will end at 9 o'clock. Your day will end at 9 o'clock. When I ask you, when do you always go to the bed? When do you always go to the bed? I always go to the bed at 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock. So my day will end at 9 o'clock. My day will end at 9 o'clock. Okay, now please, you are going to write about your day. Okay, I always wake up at 5:30. I usually have my breakfast at 6 o'clock. I wear my clothes at 6:30. I go to school at 7 o'clock. I usually do my homework at 3 o'clock. I always play computer games at 5 o'clock. I always go to the bed at 9 o'clock. Please try to write about your day at your home. Please try to write about your day at your home. Okay? Again, don't forget to write about your day at your home. Okay? Please don't forget the difference between always, usually, and never. Always, usually, and never. Always means you can do anything every day. But usually, you can do anything for 5 times or 4 times a week. But when you have extra exercise or extra homework, you can't. Okay? But number 3, never means you don't do anything. You can't do anything. You don't like doing anything. Okay? This is the difference between always, usually, and never. Please don't forget this difference. Okay? Again, don't forget to write about your day at your home. Improve your handwriting. Don't forget when you write. Okay? When you write, begin with the capital letter. Begin with the capital letter. Please start every sentence with the capital letter, and you can end it by full stop, and you have to leave a finger space between each word. You have to leave a finger space. Please leave a finger space between each word to improve your handwriting. Again, don't forget to start every sentence with a capital letter and end it by full stop, and you have to leave a finger space between each word to improve your handwriting. Okay? Please try to write at your home about your day. Don't forget the difference between always, usually, and never. Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation. Nice to meet you today. Thank you. Bye-bye.